right, good morning, all. I'm Rashonda Tate with the Defender Roundtable, joined by our content editor, Terrence Harris. And, we are in the midst of Houston's Black Restaurant Week, and that runs through April 13th. And what better way for the Defender Roundtable to celebrate the time than to discuss the explosion of Black-owned restaurants in Houston? And we're not talking about traditional soul food and barbecue spots, but fine, upscale, and innovative dining. Well, we are happy to have as a guest today Christina Letzinger, who owns Sip and Sweet. And she's here to discuss the explosion of Black-owned restaurants. And let's just start with you, Christina, by having you tell us a little bit about you and Sip and Sweet.
So Sip and Sweets Hibachi is a mobile food truck. However, we have a permanent spot, so we don't move during the week. We're open daily. But what we did was create something that didn't exist, which is a Cajun hibachi twist, but with some soul and some love into it. Most of our, all of our recipes are made in-house. We have our own sauce that we've created. All of our drinks are made in-house. There is nothing that has come from this truck that I did not make myself. Even our garlic butter, we make our seasonings, our marinades. And so we really put the uniqueness on hibachi coming from a food truck.
What was the inspiration for your restaurant?
So I originally started with Sip and Sweet's Daiquiri Bar. I had a brick and mortar, but I've always loved mixing things and making things just creative and different. So when I broke into food, I didn't want to do the traditional soul food or fried foods. My family, we definitely cook on the more soul side, right? A lot of salt, a lot of fried things. And right around the time I was buying the food truck, my mother was going through, diabetes and things like that. So we were already having to reframe how we thought about food and what we cook. So I said, well, if I'm gonna do food, I want something fresh, something that can be healthy and still be flavorful at the same time. But it doesn't have to be deep fried and wrapped in, things that aren't healthy for us. We love it, right? But at the end of the day, I want people like my mother to live a long time, and it starts with what we eat.
Parents?
And that sounds great. Like I don't know, I'm not from Houston originally, but I've been here for a while now. And when I first got here, like you had your traditional spots. You had Phil and Derek's. You had soul food restaurants, Burns for me, the barbecue here.
Yes.
But what's been really impressive are just the assortment and the different types of restaurants. And like you said, they come at it from a different, from a different angle, and in a lot of ways, probably a lot healthier for us. But I just wanted to find out, just wanted to talk about just maybe why this has been the case. What do you feel like has been the reason for the explosion? Because it seems like there's a new Black-owned restaurant popping up like every week, which is great. But what do you think has maybe been the biggest reason for that?
Are you asking me or
Christina?
Missy?
Yeah, Christina.
Oh,
I don't know
Yeah, we
about
put you on the
restaurants.
spot.
I just eat.
wait. Well, one, I think that it starts with which passion, right? If your passion is people, giving people, you try to find a way to make that connection. And I know a lot of people are looking for something to offer that isn't always the same thing.
Right.
There has been an explosion in food trucks and Black-owned restaurants, but I think for me the key is not opening up the restaurant; it's the sustaining the restaurant, right? It's the building and being able to stay open. I think is missing. We all can open up a business, but can it be sustainable? Can it be profitable? I think is the bigger piece of that. That's the only part I can really say as far as why a food truck and or why a restaurant. Everyone is going to still have their own reasonings.
Yeah. Well, what's the key to?
Okay, I'll start. Where does Houston rank in terms of like a New Orleans and in Atlanta in terms of food? So many of us are here and we're just like, okay, Houston is Houston, but just from your knowledge, where does it rank?
So I'm not from Houston. I am originally from California. I've been here now 13 years, so I'm not biased. I am a true diehard fan of New Orleans food. You just cannot, it's just unmatched, right? From the time I was 21 up until the time I had kids, I was in New Orleans every year. Mardi Gras, any type of Bayou Classic, we was there. So for me, Houston would have to be number 2 when it comes to New Orleans. New Orleans will always be first to me. It's just the authenticity it has. It's just, you just can't compare it. Now I think this Houston coming up and reaching for them, I think we are. And then of course I would have to put Atlanta last. Atlanta, we love Atlanta. It's Black Mecca. But that would be my ranking from 1, 2, and 3. You know, New Orleans, then Houston, and then Atlanta.
But it just seems like here to me, like I know I get calls. It seems like every other week from family and friends who call and say, hey cuz, or hey T, I'm coming through Houston. You know, we're gonna do like a food tour. We hear about all of these great restaurants, and it's always funny because they're not coming to see me. Sometimes I don't even get to see them. I mean, but they want to let you know just in case you bump into them. But you know, you got people flying in from all around the country just to take in these different restaurants. I mean, you know, and that has to be exciting.
It is. One thing I will say about Houston, and that's something that is our part of our new branding, is that Houston provides an experience. And I think that's the part that is shown on social media, right? And that's the part that's trending, is that you don't just get food, you get an experience. Like when people say Sunday fun day in Houston, it's an experience. It's the way it makes you feel when you walk away like, hey, I had a time. I got to meet beautiful African-American people. I got to interact. I got to have good food. And that's the part I think that, yeah, Houston definitely has the experience that is unmatched.
What's the key to sustainability and growth?
Um, the first key I would say, and what I've learned, especially with me in a spot where I've had a brick and mortar and closed, and I've had different businesses, the first key would be being able to know and how to pivot. A lot of people we get stuck in business and we're so tied to, oh, I want it this way every single time. But times change, you know, we learn new things. AI is now, you know, things. So being able to pivot and being able to be manageable and teachable would be the biggest part. And then the other part would be, of course, having a great marketing and branding that is appealing, and being able to reach the people. It's been my biggest lesson, from being able to move spots with our food truck and grow our social media. And then the last part is having the right people on your team. Especially in our culture, we need to stick together more. But having the right team would be the last part. So pivoting, definitely branding and marketing, and then a great team.
And Rashawn, I have a question for you, and actually for both of you. What have been some of your favorite Black-owned restaurant experiences here in Houston?
You know, for me, it really is being able to go in, and the owners are there and they're talking to people. I think that's like, we think of the Breakfast Club. I think that's one of the things that makes that, is that you can always count on Marcus coming around to the table, talking, and so I think that adds to the experience. And I love, like Christina is doing, being able to experience new things that you wouldn't normally think. You know, I'm trying to watch what I eat, so I don't always want this barbecue smothered in sauce. So it's great to be able to branch out and experience some different types of things.
Definitely.
And what about you, Christina?
Well, first you mentioned Breakfast Club, which is like an all-time favorite. I'm a Texas Southern University grad, so definitely love the experience. But for me, it's been also finding those other places and those other niches that's not as broadcasted, right? I can speak for my side of town because I'm in Rocher and Pearland area. We have some really great Black-owned spots that have not been, you know, as far as exposure, that are great, especially when you talk about the food truck scene out here. We are We do have a lot of barbecue trucks. I will give a shout out to Seven Seeds, which is my neighbor at the food truck part. Been in the game over 4 years. Owners are always there. Boutte's barbecue. You talking about oxtails that will put you to sleep. You hear me? I mean, and I never had oxtails until I came to Houston. I didn't know what those were. Another one is, which is really a favorite of mine, which is Take the Wheel. They started as a food truck, but now they have a brick and mortar out here in Highway 6. Burgers, wings, the flavor, you know somebody in the kitchen had a little seasoning, back there. But they put their love and their heart into it. And when you taste their food, you can feel that. And I think that's for me. I don't want you to just give me a plate with the same thing I can cook at home, right? I want to see, and taste and have that experience with you. But I can just, really tell, okay, someone put some thought, some effort, some love. And all of my recipe books, and the one I will be eventually coming out with, the first ingredient I put in anything is love. You have to love what you're doing. When I'm teaching my staff, my cooks, hey, if you don't love what you're doing, don't do it. Because I want to taste it.
I'm with you on that one.
I don't want it.
I'm with you on that one. Like for me, like, I've tried a bunch of different restaurants, but I tend to be stick a little bit close to home. So like I love quotes. I mean, I'm in there quite a bit. Esther's is phenomenal. Lucille's, but I mean, yeah, I mean, but there are just so many more. Like I'm dying to get to the Honey Hole. I've heard so many.
Oh,
so many
I love that one. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things about that spot. So I'm trying to get there. I mean, so it's a lot. But and what I'm most impressed about is it's not just the usual things. Like I'd never heard of a soul roll, but I love them now. With the catfish and greens, rolled up in there. So but that's what that's what I appreciate more than anything. It's just the thought, the creativity that are going into a lot of these meals at all of these restaurants, and so it's been a great thing to experience.
All right, well, we are out of time. Real quick, Christina, where can we find your food truck?
We are at 4322 County Road 48 in Rocheron, Texas. We are right outside of Pearland, at the Palm gas station. Most of the food trucks out here are Black owned, so definitely come by and try us all.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed this discussion. Make sure you take part in Black Restaurant Week. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and support Defender Journalism. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All righty.